Hello everybody, this is Asura at Asura MBTI, and today is going to be a little bit of a weird video. This is going to be like half of an update video and half of a lesson video. So the topic I want to talk about today is INTJs and stress, but first I want to give a little bit of update of where I've been for the past couple months. So first of all, college. As I said in one of my recent videos, I went back to college, and I'm one semester away from finishing my associates in psychology and social work, and then I'm going to transfer to a four-year college to work towards my bachelor's and then go on from there. Also, I tied for first in a typology essay scholarship contest over at typologycentral.com, so if you want to go read that essay, you can. It mainly is just a little bit of a backstory of my life from the past year or so, and then a lesson I wrote on MBTI energy, all kind of piled into an essay. Alongside that, the reason today we're going to be discussing stress is because I'm on the East Coast, and we recently had a bad snowstorm. My pipes busted in my house, and I came home after a long work day outside in the cold to a flooded house, or a flooded apartment, excuse me. And as you can see around me, I am currently in a hotel, actually. So, luckily I had renter's insurance, and that got it worked out. But it was quite a stressful situation, and I kind of wanted to talk about how INTJs handle stress. And, you know, a lot of people, upon coming home to a situation like that, would have freaked out. They would have, they would have been angry, they would have been depressed, they would have been crying. INTJs are a little bit different when it comes to stress, so I kind of wanted to run you by the kind of thoughts that were going on in my head as soon as I walked in my flooded apartment. So I got home, snow around my house, opened the door. You'll have to excuse the fan if it's making a lot of noise. It just turned on. So I got home, got in the house. The floor was just covered. There was an inch of water everywhere. I could hear water coming in from somewhere. I immediately took all of my electronics, all of my expensive items, and I put them up. And my first thought, the second I walked in the house, was how can I stop this? How can I fix this water problem? It wasn't an immediate emotional reaction. It wasn't a reaction to the situation. How is this going to affect me? What's going to happen? What's wrong? My first thought was, how can I fix this? So I immediately called my land person, and they got in contact with the maintenance person. They told me where the emergency water shutoff was, because I didn't know. And that is actually one weakness of the INTJs, is we're usually not going to be very aware of small details like that in our house, such as like where an emergency shutoff switch might be, because, you know, we have this all planned out in our head. You know, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out when we need to figure it out, which I did. But either way, it was a stressful situation. I got home. I handled it. After the water was shut off, I immediately contacted my partner, my ENFJ girlfriend, and we talked about what our plans were. We had rental insurance. I called the insurance company. We figured it out. But the general theme of all of this is that despite all of the stress going on, I wasn't very emotional about it, and that is kind of an INTJ approach to the situation. INTJs, instead of cracking under pressure, they tend to get pushed a little farther. They always say that an INTJ under pressure becomes a diamond like coal, because they shine their brightest when they're stressed. Within a couple of hours, we got ourselves set up in a decent little hotel. We're probably going to be here about a week, but our insurance company helped us out. The biggest stress that happened with all of this was just kind of the initial thought of what are my next week or two going to be like without being in my house. You know, immediately the mind jumped into what's the plan? Like, how am I going to go about my life with this new problem? And a lot of the time, that is how an INTJ is just going to handle stress. They're going to, instead of letting it get to them, they're going to try and figure out what they can do about it. And another thing is, then the INTJ, after they figure all of that out, they're going to need their time to cool down. And INTJs in the cool down period are very unique in that they usually just kind of resort to their natural comforts, whatever they generally are. So despite being in a flooded house, it was mainly just my living room and my kitchen. My partner wasn't going to be home for about 3 hours. I was done with the insurance company. I went into my bedroom, sat on my bed, and I played my PlayStation for an hour or two to just try and relax and ignore the problem that was immediately around me. And that's part of the repressed extroverted sensing, is kind of like ignoring the immediate situation and finding that that comfort in whatever is natural to the INTJ. Then, despite my my eating habits, I usually don't eat much in the afternoon. We got to the hotel 10 o'clock at night, and we went out and got an entire pizza, and I ate the entire thing. When I'm stressed as an INTJ, doesn't matter how little I usually eat, I will just consume excessive amounts of food to the point where it's going to hurt my stomach almost. Another thing, and this is going to be kind of more rare for INTJs, is that they might seek physical comfort from their partner, and I don't mean in like a sexual way. An INTJ might, this under stress, it might be the one time that they're actually going to be more so affectionate with the people in their lives that they're usually not physically affectionate with, like their partner, because INTJs, even with their romantic interests, aren't typically too physically affectionate. You might notice an INTJ under stress will be more willing to embrace with a hug or be close to their partner because they're seeking that physical comfort from the extroverted sensing desires. And I guess that's, I don't really have anything else for this video. I just kind of wanted to touch base on where I've been for the past couple months. I am planning to do videos again here soon once I get inside my house again. My videos, I know they haven't been frequent. I've been loving the fact that I've got more subscribers these days. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I've been really pushing myself to try and get that college GPA up. And I know you probably don't care too much about my past, but back in 2013, I graduated high school and I first tried to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and my GPA sunk to below a 2. I just wasn't trying. So I took a few years off, and then this past year, early 2017, I started back at college, and since then I've had nothing below a 3.5 GPA per semester, and I've already taken, like 10 classes since I gotten back. And I think that's an important thing to note about INTJs, is that INTJs, once they decide they want to do something, they just do it. They apply all of their dedication to that situation, to that goal. What was regular free time for an INTJ becomes dedicated to what they want to do. And that, to them, achieving those goals is free time in sort of this weird way, and that INTJs value their free time above almost everything else. And I say that, I'll tell that to anybody who asks about INTJs, that they value their free time. But once that free time becomes dedicated to something, then that goal becomes their free time. And they will enjoy doing things that help them achieve that goal. So in those between years where I was just sitting around doing nothing, playing video games for a couple of years, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life, as soon as I started back in college, all of that extra time went to getting those A's, getting those B's, doing as best as I can in these classes, despite my history of not being exactly the best student. But now I'm back, and my grades are high. I'm working as hard as I can, and that to me is like what an INTJ is. INTJs are dedicated to their future goals, intuitive, thinking, judging, independent. They're going to push to achieve their goals on their own as best they can, and they're not really going to need a whole ton of help. Almost every single class I've taken since I've gotten back, in fact all of them since I've gotten back, have been online classes, and I've exceeded in all of them. Very little contact with a teacher. I don't need to be taught. I can review the textbook for hours on end and understand what I need to learn. And that, to me, that's kind of my approach to learning. Again, not all INTJs are the same. Everyone has their own learning methods, but to me that is how I learn, and that is what I'm doing. Alright, that's really all I have for this time. Thanks so much for watching. I really will be trying to make more MBTI videos when I'm back in my house and my computer's up and running again after all this crazy stuff is over. If there's any particular MBTI video you'd like to see, let me know. I am considering doing more videos like this, where it's kind of like a vlog thing, and one of the main reasons for that is because video editing takes so long. Recording isn't really a hassle compared to the editing part. I can record a video in just under an hour, but editing it takes an entire night, sometimes longer, and that's a struggle when I'm a student and I need my evenings for homework time. So if you're interested in seeing more MBTI content and you'd be willing to have it and be kind of more of like this format where it's more casual and relaxed, I'm literally using my phone and I'm going to stitch together a few different things, let me know. I'm always willing to make the MBTI content. I just don't have as much free time these days. All right, thanks for watching. This is Asura at Asura MBTI, and I will see you next time.